Elena Vargas wiped the sweat from her forehead as the fluorescent lights of the diner buzzed overhead, her hands trembling from the double shift that had started at dawn. In her pocket, the eviction notice crinkled like a bad omen. She had 2 weeks to come up with the rent or lose the tiny apartment she shared with her daughter. But tonight, as she poured coffee for a table of weary truckers, one of them asked her about the faded photo on her phone's lock screen. And for the first time in years, she let a story slip out. A raw, heartbreaking tale from her past that left the whole room silent, hanging on every word. It was just after midnight in Los Angeles, the kind of sticky summer night where the air felt heavy with unfulfilled dreams. Elena had immigrated from a small town in Mexico 15 years ago, crossing the border with nothing but a backpack and a belly full of hope, and Sofia, her unborn daughter. Back then, she was 22, wide-eyed and terrified, fleeing a life that had already taken too much from her. Her husband Javier had promised a new start, but he vanished 6 months after they arrived, leaving her alone in a city that swallowed people whole. Now at 37, Elena juggled 3 jobs to keep them afloat. Mornings, she cleaned offices in downtown LA, scrubbing toilets and vacuuming carpets while executives sipped lattes in glass-walled conference rooms. Afternoons, she waited tables at Manny's Diner, a greasy spoon off the 405 freeway where the regulars knew her by name and tipped just enough to cover bus fare. And nights, well, nights were for whatever gig she could find, like stocking shelves at the local Walmart or delivering food on her beat-up bicycle until her legs screamed for mercy. Sofia was the light in all that darkness. At 17, she was a straight-A student at Jefferson High, the kind of kid who devoured books in the library during lunch and dreamed of studying journalism at UCLA. "Mom, I want to tell stories that matter," she'd say, her eyes sparkling like the city lights from their 5th-floor window. Elena would nod, forcing a smile, even as her back ached from the weight of it all. College tuition? Scholarships helped, but there were books, fees, and the endless extras that chipped away at their savings. Elena had scraped together every penny, skipping meals so Sofia could have new sneakers or a laptop for school. That night at the diner, after the trucker asked about the photo, it was Sofia as a toddler, grinning in a park they could barely afford to visit. Elena didn't mean to spill her soul, but the words came tumbling out. "That little girl? She's why I keep going," she said, her voice cracking just a bit. The trucker, a burly guy named Tom with tattoos snaking up his arms, leaned in. "Tell me more," he urged, and before she knew it, Elena was weaving the tale of their first Christmas in America. How she'd worked overtime to buy a second-hand doll, wrapping it in newspaper because gift paper was a luxury. How Sofia's laughter that morning made the cold apartment feel warm. The other customers listened, forks paused mid-bite, and when she finished, Tom slipped a 20 into her tip jar. "You're a hell of a storyteller, lady," he said. Elena laughed it off, but something stirred inside her, a flicker she hadn't felt in years. The next morning, Elena dragged herself to the office building on Wilshire Boulevard. Her supervisor, Mrs. Patel, was barking orders as usual, but today Elena's mind wandered. During her lunch break, 15 minutes in the break room with a stale sandwich, she pulled out her phone and jotted down notes. Stories from her life. The border crossing, the lonely nights in hostels, the joy of Sofia's first steps. She didn't know why. It just felt like breathing after holding her breath too long. Sofia noticed the change that evening. They were in their cramped kitchen, Elena stirring rice and beans on the hot plate while Sofia hunched over homework at the fold-out table. "Mom, you seem different." "Lighter," Sofia said, pushing her glasses up her nose. Elena hesitated, then shared the diner story. Sofia's face lit up. "That's amazing. You should write them down. Like for real." Elena waved it off. "Who has time for that? I've got shifts to cover." But Sofia persisted, handing her an old notebook. "Just try. For me." That notebook became Elena's secret escape. Between shifts, she'd scribble fragments. The taste of freedom on her first American bus ride. The sting of rejection at job interviews where her accent marked her as other. At the diner, she'd test them on regulars. Manny, the owner, a gruff Greek guy in his 60s, overheard one about her mother's recipes passed down through generations. "Elena, that's gold," he said, wiping his hands on his apron. "You got a gift." She blushed but kept going. Money was tighter than ever. Sofia's college application fees were due, and Elena's bike got stolen, forcing her to walk miles between jobs. One evening, after a brutal shift where a customer yelled at her over cold fries, Elena came home to find Sophia crying over a rejection letter from a scholarship fund. "It's not fair, Mom. You've given up everything for me." Elena pulled her into a hug, whispering, "We'll figure it out. We always do." But inside, panic clawed at her. The eviction notice loomed. Their landlord, Mr. Klein, wasn't the forgiving type. Desperate, Elena picked up extra hours at a hotel in Beverly Hills, folding towels and making beds for celebrities she only glimpsed in passing. It was there, in the laundry room's steamy haze, that she met Carla, a fellow cleaner from Guatemala. Carla was chatty, always sharing podcasts on her phone during breaks. "You gotta listen to this one. Real people telling real stories," Carla said one day, handing Elena an earbud. As the voices filled her ears, raw, unfiltered tales of struggle and triumph, Elena felt a spark. "I could do that," she murmured. That night, after Sophia fell asleep, Elena recorded her first story on her phone. Her voice was shaky at first, recounting the day Javier left. The empty closet, the note on the table saying he couldn't handle the pressure. She hit stop, tears streaming, but listened back. It was honest, painful, beautiful. She titled it "The Empty Side of the Bed," and on a whim, uploaded it to a free podcast app Sophia had shown her. Nothing happened at first. Elena kept grinding. Offices, diner, hotel. Her body ached constantly, a dull throb in her joints from years of labor. Sophia helped where she could, bagging groceries after school, but Elena hated seeing her daughter's youth slip away. "Go study," she'd insist. "This is my job." Then, one Tuesday morning, Elena's phone buzzed nonstop during her cleaning shift. She sneaked a peek. Downloads on her podcast episode had spiked to 50, then 100. Comments poured in. "This hit me hard. Thank you for sharing. You're so strong." A listener named Rachel from San Diego wrote, "Your voice is mesmerizing. More, please." Elena's heart raced. Was this real? Sophia was ecstatic when Elena told her, "Mom, this could be big. Let's make more." They spent evenings together, Sophia editing the audio on her laptop while Elena spoke her truths. Stories about raising Sophia alone. The parent-teacher conferences where Elena fumbled English but fought for her girl. The birthday parties skipped because shifts couldn't be missed. The quiet pride when Sophia won her first writing award. But life didn't pause for dreams. At the diner, Manny cut hours due to slow business, and Elena's hotel gig ended when the season wrapped. Bills piled up. The electric company threatened shut-off. Sophia's UCLA acceptance came in a crisp envelope, but with it, the reality of tuition gaps. "I can defer, Mom. Work a year," Sophia offered, but Elena shook her head. "No. You go. I'll make it work." In the midst of it, Elena's storytelling grew. Her podcast, Stories Between Shifts, hit 1,000 downloads. Listeners shared it on social media, Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok clips of her voice over cityscapes. One episode about the kindness of strangers during her early days in LA, a bus driver who let her ride for free when she was penniless, went viral in immigrant communities. Comments flooded. "This is my story too. You're inspiring us." Elena started getting emails. A local radio station wanted an interview. A blogger offered to feature her. But doubt crept in. Who was she? A cleaner with calloused hands and tired eyes. At work, colleagues teased her gently. "Our famous Elena," Carla said, but Elena brushed it off. Deep down, she feared it was a fluke. The turning point came on a rainy Friday. Elena had just finished a grueling double at the office and diner. Her feet blistered. She checked her phone. Sophia had texted, "Emergency. Come home." Panic surged. Rushing back on the bus, Elena's mind raced with worst-case scenarios. Burst pipe? Illness? She burst through the door to find Sophia beaming, surrounded by printouts. "Mom, listen to this." Sophia played a voicemail from a producer at a major podcast network in New York. "Elena, your stories are raw and real. We'd love to discuss syndication. Call us." Elena sank onto the couch, stunned. Syndication? That meant money, real money. But joy was short-lived. That same night, Mr. Klein knocked. "Rent's due tomorrow or you're out." Elena begged for an extension, but he shrugged. Rules are rules. Despair hit like a wave. She had the podcast potential but no immediate cash. Sophia suggested dipping into college savings, but Elena refused. That's yours. In tears, Elena recorded her most vulnerable episode yet. Rock bottom. She poured out the eviction fear, the endless hustle, the love that kept her fighting. She uploaded it raw, no edits. By morning it exploded 10,000 downloads. Listeners rallied. GoFundMe links appeared in comments, donations trickled in. A viral tweet from a popular influencer. This woman's story broke me. Help her out. Within days, the fund hit $5,000, enough for rent, bills, and a cushion. Elena paid Mr. Klein, who grumbled but took the check. Relief washed over her, but it was bittersweet. At the diner, Tom the trucker clapped her on the back. Told you, storyteller. Manny even gave her a raise, saying her fame brought in customers. Sophia's college move-in day arrived in August, the California sun beating down on UCLA's campus. Elena helped carry boxes up to the dorm, her arms strong from years of labor. Sophia hugged her tight. Mom, your stories got us here. I'm so proud. Elena's eyes welled. No, Mija. You did. Back home, the apartment felt empty, but Elena's phone rang constantly. The podcast network deal came through. A modest contract for weekly episodes with ad revenue. She quit the office cleaning job, keeping the diner for stability. Storytelling became her lifeline, connecting her to thousands who felt seen in her words. Months passed. Elena's episodes delved deeper. Regrets over lost time with Sophia. The cultural clash of raising an American daughter. The quiet hope of maybe finding love again. Listeners wrote letters, real paper ones, sharing their own shifts and stories. One from a single dad in Texas. You gave me courage to keep going. At Christmas, Sophia came home, her dorm tales filling the air. They cooked tamales, laughing over old photos. Elena shared a new story idea, inspired by their journey. Call it Daughter's Dream, Sophia suggested. Elena's voice grew confident, her narratives weaving the fabric of everyday heroism. She spoke at a local community center, her words drawing crowds. No fame overnight, just steady growth like the life she'd built. One evening, as the Ella skyline twinkled outside, Elena sat with her notebook. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was thriving. The hidden talent unearthed between shifts had become her voice, a beacon for others in the grind. And in quiet moments she'd smile, knowing the stories weren't just hers. They were everyone's.